Fitzy and Whipper.
Love this man, love him. You would know him as drummer of one of the biggest rock bands of all time. He's got a new single out on his own. It's called On the Stereo. Here's a bit of Ben Gillies right now. Brilliant. It's out now everywhere to stream and download. Ben Gillies, welcome.
Hey! Oh, thank you. What an intro. That's awesome.
Did you like that?
I love that.
He never says I love you, so you've done well here.
Do you know what?
you.
Do you know what I was? I was going to say he was the original drummer for the Marching Koalas.
I was in the Marching Koalas. I played the quads.
So before Silverchair, there was the Marching Koalas.
There was the Marching Koalas.
What did they do?
Well, they marched for one. we had to practice marching.
Did you really?
Yes, we had to practice marching.
What, in the show, like that was a special, like you know where you do the life saving, the nippers do the march
Oh,
pass?
yeah.
So you had to do it all together.
Yeah, so someone's up there whacking a snare and everyone's got to step in time and, yeah.
Unbelievable.
What was the biggest song the Marching Koalas had?
They did do,
was a crowd
what's
pleaser.
that, George is it Benson?
Yeah, George Benson. Were you all
What's
covers?
that track?
Oh, I
can't think.
On Broadway.
There we go.
Is it in the system? No, it's not in the
Highly
system.
doubt it.
Oh, this is brilliant. And then obviously went on and, mate, you know, the career is unbelievable. And, you know, I'm good mates with Benny and just every time we have a few beers, Whip, I'm always chewing his ear off.
I bet he is. He would get so annoying,
He
Benny.
loves the Silverchair question.
Because he's so...
But that's fine. That's, I'm happy to answer.
Well, see, the biggest thing for me, I remember when I was young, and the biggest thing was, how old were you, Benny, when you played the MTV Music Awards in New York on the rooftop? How old were you then?
15 or 16.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Bit different to Newcastle.
Bit different to Newcastle, yeah. And it's weird looking back now when you see 15 and 16-year-olds, you're like, you're just a child.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did you realise the enormity of it back then, or you guys were just young and just running amok?
Yeah, I think being naive was actually a benefit.
A gift.
At the time, yeah, it was. Because we were just we loved what we were doing, we loved the music we were making, and all the extra stuff wasn't important.
Benny, can we go right back to the start, right?
We can go as far back as you
Because
like.
I'm fascinated. I mean, sure, when you pulled the trigger on Silverchair and you guys got together and went, all right, let's form a band here,
Yes.
you obviously didn't realise how far things would go.
No.
You can never envisage how far and how wide and what the reach would be.
No.
But what was the moment when there was a conversation with you guys where you said, oh, maybe we should get together and play some guitars and drums and stuff?
Well, I think Dan and I always had dreams of, we'd talk about being the biggest band in the world, and I think I was already playing drums, and then Dan and Chris were playing trumpet
Right.
in the school band.
Yeah, right.
They were good at trumpet.
Trumpet's not really associated with rock and roll, is it?
I don't know, is there any,
Oh, hang on. Who was the one that did trumpets? Jason Derulo. He had a song, Trumpets.
Yes, he
is
did.
it rock and roll though?
Yeah, he's killed it.
James Morrison, he was a bit rock and roll, wasn't he? Yeah, on the trumpet.
Okay,
So we formed the band at 12, and that's when we kind of said we are now a band.
Yeah.
And
why Silverchair? I know that's such an annoying question.
You know what? We had this crazy story that we used to tell people when we were younger, and it was just we just made it up. The real story is that it was on a list at the Triple J studio. Oh no, don't mention it.
No,
you
can
go for it, mate.
Anyway, it was at the Triple J studios when we were recording Tomorrow, the original EP, because we were called the Innocent Criminals, and we didn't like the Innocent Criminals, so we decided we were going to change it, and it was on a list on a whiteboard, and that's the one that we liked.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy stories, very
Shows
rock and roll.
God, I like it though because it worked.
I want to talk because there's some great, actually, Benny, you've been talking about, the rise of Silverchair at the moment as well, and everyone knew that you were going to be a huge band, but then you got John Watson, who was your manager in that, and he talks about how there was so many record companies trying to get your attention, but he just realised that you were 15-year-old kids, so he would always, just to appease to, what you like, mucking around and taking the piss out of each other.
Yeah.
He let you go. He didn't throw anything big at you, and he just waited.
Yeah.
And he said when he got that call from you guys that he was going to be manager, he said it was one of the biggest days ever.
Yeah, so we actually I remember we had a meeting with the manager at the time of AC/DC. I can't remember his name, but we went to his office in London, And I guess he was trying to, woo us.
Yeah.
So he took us out to this fancy, it was Michael Caine's restaurant.
Wow.
And we walked in, and then we were 14, 15 or whatever. And I remember looking at the menu, and it was like, I didn't recognize, and we're kids from Newey that, we just want deep
schnitzel.
fried calamari, whatever.
Yeah.
And anyway, so we looked at the menu, and I remember looking at Dan and Chris going like, "Oh, do you recognise anything on here?"
Surf and turf.
And we did, it was nothing on there, but we actually saw the one thing said calamari, and I was like, "Look, I recognise that. I'm going with that." So it came out, and it was a bowl of black rice with a couple of shavings of the white calamari on top. I mean, you're just looking at it going like, well, for one, it's black,
Yeah.
so it
That's
doesn't.
not calamari.
Yeah, it doesn't look right to eat.
So what about-
So we didn't sign with him purely
Because of the calamari, because of the menu.
But what I got that we just wanted to go to Sizzler, or we wanted to go and have a hamburger at the time,
See, this is brilliant. This is the other big one I want to talk about. There's a great podcast, actually, Rewind, with Steve Bell, and you did it with him, talking about the days. But I want to know about this crazed fan, the one that stole Daniel Johns' mother's ID on a train, and you guys, she was rocking up everywhere to your gigs and was backstage.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about this fan?
Is it the French lady?
Yeah, the French lady.
What did she do?
I think she was thought she was obsessed with Dan. I think she thought she was probably going to marry him and have his children. I'm not sure if she was able to, actually. I think she was probably past the point of being able to have children.
Pushing 70.
She definitely was. But she just used to hang around at shows and
She was always there in different countries and
and she was really creepy. And I remember at one point we actually had a security come around with us just to keep an eye on her. And he even I remember he had a gun with him as well, but it only shot rubber bullets.
Awesome.
we still were like, that's still kind of cool, right?
Yeah. He's got a BB gun. He's got a spud gun.
Yeah, it was a spud gun.
Awesome.
Everyone put their hands up.
Hey, he's got some fresh potatoes. We need to reload.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you had a security guard following around because this woman was everywhere, and she was getting into backstage as well, where you guys were.
Yeah, she was just talking away back there. So I mean, we were what's the word? We were protected from it. Like
Yes.
people would, our parents and our management kind of kept that away from us because that is actually quite confronting and
It is.
scary.
It's scary.
Why is this woman following us around?
And then you found out that it was Daniel's mum was on a train overseas, and this woman went through her handbag and got her ID, and she was using it to get into places, saying, "I'm Daniel Johns' mother."
That's extraordinary.
I mean, it's a good move, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've never thought of that, but very good. I mean, credit where it's due.
Yeah, exactly.
Can I? Go on. No, go on, Ryan.
No, we want to talk about.
loves you.
I want to talk about your life now because it's a little bit different now to the rock star lifestyle because you've married a beautiful woman, Jackie Gillies, and you've got two beautiful twins now, Bonham and Rocco.
Yes.
How old are they, Benny?
They're probably around 7 months.
God help you. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Where are
That's
you at,
awesome.
mate? Like you look like there's a couple of bags under your eyes.
I'm a bit tired this morning. You know what? The first 6 weeks was absolutely hectic.
Yep.
It was crazy. And all the stuff that when you're not a parent, I mean, I've only been a parent now for 7 months, but when you're not a parent, everyone tells you all the stories, and I've got to tell you, they're all true. They are all true. You don't get any sleep.
Yeah.
And you don't have any time for anything else.
There you go.
But you know it doesn't matter because when you pick them up and you give them a cuddle, it's just and you look at them and they give you a smile, you just go, "Oh my god, that is the most amazing thing."
Do you know this is how much the rock star lifestyle is gone for Benny now as well? We had a mate's 40th down in Newey, and you and Jack come and saw us for lunch, but you were like, "Nah, the twins, we've got to go home.
I'm breastfeeding.
Things have changed now. Didn't even
Yeah.
go to the 40th." Geez, you've changed, mate. What's
Yeah, well,
happened?
it's because I just want to go home and look after my boys.
Well, that's good. That's impressive. And with your wife being a psychic, and she's been in the studio here before and has the ability to predict a lot of things,
Yes.
like the fact that she knew my wife was pregnant when we hadn't told anybody.
Yeah,
Gave
that
me the
was
wink
cra-
and whispered
that
it in my ear.
That was
And
crazy.
I went, geez, you are good.
Yeah, she's good.
Does she give you a prediction? Like they're going to sleep through the night tonight? I reckon they're going to sleep.
Look, apparently the rule with Jackie is that anything close to her that she can't read
Right.
it. So
Okay.
because she has to live her own life. Because I think that would be like there's a movie what's the movie where they hook the psychic up and they can see
The Gift with there's Kate Blanchett.
Really?
Yeah, with Katie Holmes. That's
Gift.
a really good movie.
I was
The
thinking
Gift.
the one with Tom Cruise where there's the girl and the
Vanilla Sky.
is it Vanilla
Yeah, and
Sky?
Cameron Diaz.
Mission Impossible?
No, the one isn't the one where
Jack
he's
Reacher?
saying that-
Oh, yes.
Swordfish?
No, that's
Swordfish.
not.
No,
that
it
was
was-
Hugh Jackman.
The Minority Report. There we
Yes,
go. Yeah,
Minority Report.
yeah. It's like that. You can't see your own thing because you have to experience life.
What I do want to know, when you got two twins trying to sleep at home, because you've got a studio at home as well, and you're still making music, and on the stereo, there's more singles coming out as well. How the hell can you bang away on the drums when you got two twins, or do you have to get out of the house now?
I'm actually in the midst of building a home studio.
Oh,
because
wow.
because I need to. Yeah, the house is starting to be overtaken by kids stuff.
Yes.
And I need my own space. So.
Separate quarters, like
outside, yeah, separate
Soundproof.
from the house. Yeah,
Awesome.
Soundproof.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
mate,
good.
You deserve that.
Thank
done.
you.
Well done on the stereo, mate. This is brilliant. It's so good to have you in. And there will be. You're going to bring out an album, Benny?
I reckon a few more singles this year, an EP toward the end of the year, and then hopefully an album an album sometime next year. I need to write it at some point.
Yeah.
Benny, you know, Leno's a big music man, and Leno would agree
am.
with me. When Diorama came out, it was life-changing. Like, I think anybody that was into that album remembers where they were and the level of detail in that album.
Yes.
It was just phenomenal.
So can I, Leno, have you got a moment that you want to share with Benny? I've got one as well.
Well, actually,
Can I tell you something about Diorama? It's funny, we did that. The whole production around that was like huge, and it was all over the world. But we actually did a demo recording of it with Phil McKellar on the Central Coast, and we busted it out, all the tracks front to back, in about a week.
Wow.
And I reckon that recording
Is even better.
I reckon it was better than the record that we put out.
Is that right?
That's in
Even that was-
in my humble opinion.
Because it was raw?
Because we weren't thinking about it too much. It was
right.
we just were like, okay, this isn't the one we're putting out, so let's just go for it.
Yeah.
And there was just like, I think Silverchair always captured a magic.
Yeah.
And I reckon that recording caught the magic even better than the one that we released.
Well, here's another one I want to ask you just quickly. Was there was a recent podcast that came out. Was there an album that you guys recorded and Daniel was listening to Caius and you guys were into heavier music at the time? You recorded an album and then Daniel didn't like it and then it was gone. He got rid of it. He deleted it? You can't remember that?
I remember Dan said that he recorded a bunch of tracks that he didn't like, but yeah, we never did it as a band.
Okay, as a band.
So you're coming on to make the announcement that first recording of Diorama in Newcastle will be released.
I think it should be. It's as without all the strings,
That
without
would be
it didn't have any.
amazing.
It didn't have any strings and it didn't have anything on it. It was just the three of us going for it, and it was awesome.
Who's got it?
I'm sure Phil McKellar. Someone called Phil McKellar and John
Hey,
Watson.
Phil McKellar.
Let's get Phil on the show now.
The moment for me was, and this was apparently one of your biggest gigs of all time, was your first ever big day out, 1995, and you played side stage in every...
Were you there?
I was in Adelaide.
Awesome.
And Cosmic Psychos played before you.
Yeah.
And then we stuck around to watch you boys, and you could not move. It was the most jammed I've ever been into a gig.
Yeah, it was pretty. That first big day out was pretty. It was madness.
That must be a
But
phenomenal feeling.
You were
It
on a
was great.
small stage as well, and no one could. Not everyone could get in to see you boys. It was crazy.
Yeah, look, the people at the back.
Yeah.
All you would have seen is a couple of matchsticks on
Yeah,
jumping up
yeah.
and there, But I don't know. It was a pretty amazing experience.
Amazing.
Just awesome. Well done, buddy.
Benny, you can go on the stereo. It's out there now. It's everywhere now. Stream and download. Love you, Benny. Thank you very much for
Thanks for
coming.
having
mate.
me, gents.
Thanks, mate.
Fitzy and Whipper.